Welcome, fair maiden.
The kingdom of Yumuif was a place where tradition and modern life danced together. The palace had marble floors, satellite dishes, and even an elevator, but the king still held council under the ancient Irako tree. Prince Obinna was the pride of the royal family, or so it seemed. He was tall, with skin the color of polished brown skin, and a jawline that could slice bread. His igbadas were always tailored to perfection, and his wristwatch collection could buy half the kingdom. Whenever he walked through the market, women whispered, "That one is husband material, oh." But those same women knew the truth and avoided standing too close to him. Because Prince Obinna had a breath problem, so powerful, it deserved its own title, the Royal Bad Breath of Doom. It was not your everyday bad breath. This one was the kind that made your eyes shed heavy tears, and your ancestors would move uncomfortably in their graves. The palace staff knew. The maidens knew. Even the palace dogs knew. They would bark and crawl away whenever Obinna bent down to pet them. But no one dared say a word. Everyone kept pretending as if all was well. Why? Because King Emeka, Obinna's father, was not a man you crossed. If you insulted his only son, you could find yourself sweeping the palace gutters for the next 15 years of your life. So people avoided saying anything to the prince. The only place people spoke freely about Obinna's bad breath gift was the marketplace. Welcomes to Stories by V. Please be part of our community by subscribing. Under the hot sun, women selling tomatoes, yams, and fish gathered their voices in low whispers. Mom and Kechi, did you see the prince at the wedding last week? See him? My dear, I smelled him before I saw him. My nose nearly resigned from my face. They laughed, shaking their heads. But why can't they tell him? Another woman asked. Mama Igioma replied. Tell him? God forbid. Do you want me to be arrested? No, oh, I can't, oh. The gossip about the powerful bad breath of the prince spread like wildfire, but inside the palace, silence ruled. No one spoke about it. One bright afternoon, the palace bell rang 3 times. That was the signal for a royal announcement. King Emeka stood on the palace balcony in his red cap and white flowing agbada. My people, he said loudly, the time has come for my son to take a wife. We will host a grand maidens festival next month. Every maiden in Yumuif may come. The winner will marry the prince and share in the glory of our royal house. Cheers erupted. Girls began planning their outfits. Tailors got busy. The market buzzed like a beehive. But in one corner, a young woman named Amaka, she laughed in her heart. She was the daughter of the village mechanic, bold-mouthed and allergic to nonsense. She had heard the stories. She knew the truth. And she was not the type to keep quiet if her turn came. The festival day arrived with drums, dancing, and the smell of roasted goat meat filling the air. The palace courtyard was transformed, silk drapes, golden chairs, and a red carpet that stretched all the way from the gate to the prince's throne. One by one, the maidens approached Prince Obinna, smiling sweetly. And one by one, something strange happened. The first maiden, a beautiful girl named Chioma, bowed gracefully to greet him. Prince Obinna leaned forward, smiling, and then opened his mouth and said, "Welcome, fair one." Chioma's eyes widened. She stumbled backward, pretending to adjust her gelly. Oh, I forgot something in my bag," she said loudly, running off. The second maiden lasted all of 10 seconds before she began coughing uncontrollably. The third maiden burst into sudden, unnecessary laughter and ran away. The crowd began murmuring. The drums slowed. Even the king's eyebrow moved. And then, Amaka stepped forward. Amaka stepped onto the red carpet like she owned it. She wasn't wearing the kind of flashy lace or glittering beads the other maidens had. No, she wore a simple Ankara gown, tied perfectly to her figure, with a small matching headscarf. Her confidence was the real jewel. Prince Obinna smiled, clearly intrigued. At last, a maiden who walks with the grace of a queen, he said, leaning forward. And that's when it happened. Her nostrils bent. Her head moved slightly back, like she'd just inhaled the gas of 1,000-week-old palm wine. Her lips pressed together in a slow, steady line. She didn't run. She didn't cough. She didn't laugh. Instead, she looked him dead in the eye and said loudly, "Your Highness, please step back before my ancestors awake from their grave and start complaining." The crowd froze. "Excuse me?" Prince Obina asked, blinking fast. Amaka crossed her arms. "I mean no disrespect, my prince, but what is in your mouth could kill a plantain tree in dry season and even make a pregnant woman lose her pregnancy." The gasp that went through the courtyard could have blown off the palace roof. The drummers stopped playing. The MC quietly dropped his microphone. The market women in the back clutched their wrappers, whispering, "Whoa, it don't happen." The king's face tightened like fresh leather. "Guards." But Queen Nena raised her hand. "Let her speak. If the dog's tail is dirty, you don't cover it with lace, you wash it." The king turned slowly to his wife, but she stared back until he sat back in his chair. Obina's jaw tightened. "You dare insult me in my father's palace?" "It's not an insult," Amaka replied calmly. "It's the truth. The problem is everyone here is too scared to tell you. You're the prince, but when you open your mouth, it's like the graveyard with decayed bodies." Somewhere in the crowd, someone choked, trying hard not to laugh. Prince Obina's pride cracked. This was the first time in his life anyone had spoken to him without sugarcoating their words. His eyes scanned the courtyard. No one met his gaze. Not even his friends. That was the moment it sank in. Maybe this bold stranger wasn't lying. That night, the palace was boiling hot. In the king's private chamber, King Emeka paced. "That girl has embarrassed our bloodline." But Queen Nena shook her head. "She has given your son a gift, the gift of truth. Better shame today than disgrace for life." The king frowned. "A prince's breath cannot be that bad now." Queen Nena asked him, "Have you ever sat close when he speaks?" "Have you? Why then are you saying she disgraced him, when she simply told him the truth?" The king opened his mouth and closed it again in defeat. By the next morning, the story had spread faster than a phone recharge promo. In the market, women were reciting the scene. One even leaned toward another and whispered, "Step back before my ancestors rise up from their grave," sending everyone into fits of laughter. Prince Obina stayed in his room all day, refusing visitors. The shame burned like pepper in his chest. But something in Amaka's tone had stuck in his head. She hadn't mocked him for fun. She had looked serious, like she actually cared whether he fixed it or not. The following evening, the queen herself came to Obina's room. "My son, you can hide from the people, but you cannot hide from your own mouth. Let the royal herbalist see you." Reluctantly, Obina agreed. The herbalist, an old man with eyes like cola nuts, examined the prince's mouth. This is not a curse, not witchcraft. Your Highness, your teeth is like a rented house full of squatters. Food has been hiding inside for years, and the smell has married itself to your tongue." Obina stared at him. "You mean, I can fix this?" "With work," the herbalist said, mixing a paste of charcoal, mint, and salt. "Brush morning and night, and stop eating siya before sleeping without cleaning your mouth." That night, for the first time in his life, Prince Obina brushed his teeth properly. The foam that came out from his mouth turned a shade of brown that nearly made him cry. But he brushed again. And again. Over the next weeks, he became obsessed with oral hygiene, brushing, rinsing, chewing mint leaves. He stopped speaking closely to people until he was very sure his breath has been clean. But deep down, one thought kept echoing. If Amaka had not spoken up, I would still be walking around, thinking I was perfect. 3 weeks later, the kingdom of Yumuife was buzzing again. Another royal event had been announced, the Cultural Heritage Gala, a mix of tradition and modern luxury, where guests wore their finest, danced to live drums, and enjoyed endless plates of jollof rice, nkwobi, and fresh palm wine. Please be part of our community by subscribing. The rumor spread into overdrive. They say the prince has been hiding because of shame. No, I heard he traveled abroad for royal business.
A beg.
Me. I heard he is coming back, and this time his mouth smells like rainwater. I cannot miss this event. I need to go and see and perceive it for myself. The palace courtyard glittered under strings of golden lights. Long tables were stacked with steaming food, egusi soup in clay pots, grilled fish wrapped in banana leaves, and pyramids of fried plantain. The royal family arrived in style. King Emeka in a white agbada embroidered with red thread, Queen Nena in a floor-length George wrapper, and finally, Prince Obinna. The moment he stepped out of the sleek black Mercedes, heads turned. His agbada was deep blue with gold patterns, his shoes polished to a mirror shine, his beard trimmed to perfection. But the real test came when he smiled and greeted the first group of guests. No one flinched. No one ran. Instead, someone whispered, peppermint. The crowd murmured in surprise as Obinna moved gracefully through the gala, shaking hands, laughing, and, for the first time, speaking at a normal distance. Meanwhile, at the far end of the courtyard, Amaka stepped in. She wore a fitted wine-colored gown, her natural hair wrapped in a golden scarf. Her earrings caught the light as she scanned the crowd. She wasn't here for the prince, but her arrival didn't go unnoticed. Prince Obinna spotted her instantly, mid-conversation with a group of chiefs. He excused himself, walked across the courtyard, and stopped right in front of her. "Amaka," he said with a smile. She blinked. "Your Highness, you're talking to me without the breath of doom?" A laughter rippled through the nearby guests. Prince Obinna smiled wider. "Thanks to you. You gave me the truth no one else dared to say." Amaka tilted her head. So you took my advice?" "I did more than take it," Obinna replied. "I made it my mission. And now, I want to thank you properly." By now, curious onlookers were gathering, sensing something was about to happen. The palace MC saw the moment and quickly announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, it seems our prince has something to say." All eyes turned to Obinna and Amaka. Prince Obinna cleared his throat. "My people, I want to confess something. For years, I walked among you, thinking I was the perfect prince. But in truth, I carried a problem that made people avoid me, and not one person told me. Except this woman. She didn't mock me in secret," Obinna continued. "She told me to my face. And because she did, I was able to change. For that, I am forever grateful." A sly smile crept onto Amaka's lips. "Grateful enough to change your ways? Or just your mouth?" The crowd murmured, waiting for Obinna's answer. "Both," he said. "I want to be a prince who can hear the truth, even when it stings." The guards exchanged glances. One whispered, "This one has confidence, oh." "I have learned two things. First, that no matter how high your crown sits, you are not above correction. And second, that the people who speak truth to you are the ones who deserve a place by your side." The king, who had been watching in silence, suddenly rose. His deep voice filled the hall. "From this day forth, let it be known that in the kingdom of Yumwife, truth will never be punished, but honored. Anyone who speaks the truth for the good of another will be rewarded. Moral: never be too big to take a truth when it is offered. A crown may shine on the head, but wisdom begins in the heart that can accept the truth." What do you think about the prince with the strong mouth odor? Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye, and see you in our next video.